on a microphone with this guy, but we did it many, many times over the years. The fellow that brought us the third Turner Cup in the history of Comet hockey as a coach, Marc Boileau. Marc, nice to have you back.
Very nice to be here, Bob.
You involved in hockey at all, Marc?
No, not at this time, Bob. I am not involved. This has been about first or second time in the past 30 years that I've, or 40, that I have not been involved in hockey. I'd like to get back in the game, maybe as a scout or something. I think I can, with my experience and, the people I know and the knowledge that I've gained through the years in the game, I think that I could be of some help to some team.
Well, you won a couple of big ones. You won a Turner Cup with the Fort Wayne Komets here in 72-73. You went up in the World Hockey League, and with Quebec, you won the I.H.L trophy. That's the last one they had, too, isn't it?
Yes, it was. As a matter of fact, the one in Quebec was the first time a professional championship was won by any Quebec team.
Yeah.
And I came very close my first year in France because we were runner-up in the championship game. We got beat 2-1 in the finals.
What kind of hockey are they playing over in Europe, especially in the area you were involved in?
Well, the hockey rinks are a little bit bigger, Bob, and there's more room for good skaters. You don't see as much body checking as you do here, and of course the game. There's a lot of skating, there's a lot of passing, but you don't have the big scores like you do here. Most of the big scores over there are all imports, whether they're American or Canadians. They are the guys that score the goals. And the funny thing is that whenever a team is going well, and the strangers that they call the players, they're the stranger imports, are scoring goals, everything's good. As soon as they lose a couple of games, and if the imported player doesn't score any goals, then they blame it all on the imported players. Very strange.
How about imported coaches? Do they get the blame too?
Well, it's the same thing. Well, you don't have to be imported to get the blame. I mean, this happens in sports all over the country, all over the world. As soon as the team starts faltering, usually the guy that takes the fall is the coach.
When was the last time you had the skates on?
2 years ago. I was in Montreal. My son Claude, who used to play here with the Junior Komets and the midget team here, has a business in Montreal, and he sponsors a team and he plays on it. And I was back there for a couple of weeks, and I came in one night and he said, "We're short a couple of players. Why don't you put the skates on?" So I did, and we had a great time. I scored a hat trick, Bob.
Hey, there you go. Got the touch back again. We often reminisce. Years ago one night, we had a Sunday game, and the team we were to play, because of a snowstorm, which was Port Huron, didn't get in. And in those days, one of the major television people had a little shoot-off thing we did, and they'd select a player each night, and there was a big round hole in the middle of a board that was set over the goal mouth, and the contestant would select the player, and if the player skating in from the hash mark shot and hit the hole, they both got a television set. Well, this particular night, we had a huge crowd here, and nobody showed up, and we were trying to get some Marquette drills going, scrimmages going, whatever you could think of to entertain the crowd had happened. Then we went to that shoot-off, and I'll never forget that as long as I live, because a lot of the guys would grab the puck, went in and tried to shoot off to win a TV set. Now, there must have been 8 or 10 shooters, including Bob Fitchner, and finally, they're lined up on the Fort Wayne bench, and Mark, in his street shoes, says, "Come here, give me a stick." So Mark threw a puck out, grabbed a stick. He was running on his street shoes on the ice, got to the hash marks, and bingo, smack dab in the middle of the hole, and the whole bench just collapsed on you, Mark.
Right in the middle. I remember that very well. That was a great day. That was a great day, Bob. I also remember a certain guy, radio announcer, by the way.
Yeah.
I think it was the regional tournament, the Indiana State regional tournament here, basketball tournament, and I remember Bob Chase walking across the floor at the time, and a bunch of hockey players were there, and I remember you grabbed the ball. Do you remember that?
Oh,
and
yeah.
And you fired the thing, and you were about 50 feet away, and you fired the thing, and the ball took that big arc and swoosh right through, and the guy says, "Come here, do it again." You said, "Never again."
Never again. And that's about the way it happens, doesn't it, along the line? Of course, we're talking with Marc Boileau, who was the former coach of the Fort Wayne Komets and led them to a Turner Cup in 1972-73. And Marc's been in Europe for a number of years now, and I'm sure has kept up as best he could with the International Hockey League. But did you ever dream when you left here we'd be playing in the cities they're playing in today?
Geez, you know, Bob, I'm amazed at all the cities and the cities they're going into next year.
Yeah.
You know, but it just seems that hockey is growing more and more and more, and it's just like in Europe now. You know, you go to the rinks, you go in Germany, the rinks are full. The rinks are full. Switzerland, it's full of people. And last Saturday, I had a chance to see Montreal Canadiens against the Rangers in New York. There was 17,860 people at the game, and you know, it's unbelievable. But the game is really coming on very, very strong, and the cities that the I.H.L is involved in, you know, they're in direct competitions against the NHL. Yeah. And at one time, I remember the American Hockey League was the number 2 league in hockey. Right now, you get the NHL, and the next best league after the NHL is the I.H.L. And you know, I wish I could see some of those guys, those skeptics, you know, a few years back said, oh, the I is a 3rd or 4th class league. And you know, I used to try and not convince, but just tell the people that if you saw the game, you saw the type of competition in that league, you'd change your mind. I think now we're seeing the results, and I think a lot of people have changed their minds about the I.H.L.
Well, as you well know, over the years when they've called our league the I.H.L, a hamburger league, and a variety of other things, some of the players that played in this league had skill levels as good as anyone in minor hockey. The only exception was the big dogs up in the National League never wanted to favor us with any decent comments. Some great players in this league.
Oh, some great players in this league, and you can see by the crowds that are attending the game.
Yeah,
you know?
that's something.
Boy, it's really something. I guess I didn't see the game last night, but I guess they had a full house last night.
Up, yeah.
Another full house tonight, and I guess the Funky brothers are doing a hell of a job promoting the game and running a good show here in Fort Wayne.
Incredible, because I remember back in the good old days, Mark, if we ended up with 4,500 to 5,000 here at a game on a weekend, we had a bumper drop.
That's right. That's right.
All the old buildings that we used to play in all the old cities, but boy, the hockey's so different.
Very different. Very different. I think it's a more wide open game now, but I think what is maybe lacking, if I may say there's something lacking, which I don't think there's that much. You know, I was talking to a couple of my former players tonight, Ron Elliott and Robbie Irons, and Robbie was telling me, he says, you know, this is what they need. He says they should have a couple of Cal Puritans in this league.
Yep, the old deputy dog. He kept things honest. But you don't see that, and in fact, with the skill levels going today, you almost have to have a pretty skilled player at every level, including your hammer, because any mistake anymore in this league, they burn you with it.
Oh yeah, sure. You know, like I say, there's a lot of talent, and the type of hockey players that are playing in this league, you know, can play in the NHL or vice versa.
Great for the fans as well. Marc, we're glad you chose to come to Fort Wayne tonight to see a lot of your old buddies with the old-timers situation going, and we're pleased to have a chance to talk with you here. A lot of great memories we've served together with over the hockey days in your career here, and come back anytime, eh?
Thanks very much, Bob. It's been my pleasure.
All right, Marc Boileau, former Comet coach, and of course the fellow that led us to our 73 Turner Cup.